Hey, Maria back with another video. It's 1:35 p.m. It is March 12th. I think today is, let me just double check. I don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday. It is Thursday. So time's flying by, and I've been at it this morning. Since I got up, I was looking for work, doing the best I can, plugging away. And so I wanted to come in here and make this video because everybody needs a break, right? So I wanted to address my previous perps and basically let them know that, I'm not interested in keeping a war going. I just think sometimes you have to just state your case, which I've been doing for quite a long time, and move on. It's been a very long, emotionally taxing time period for me since the whole beginning of it, and even before then, before I even realized what all this chatter and all this stuff was going on. And so now, I'm not in a position to want to seek revenge or keep the war going, because this is a one-sided war, and I'm not interested in it. I'm just not, and I would prefer just to move on. Some people would want revenge tactics. Sure, those things do go through your mind, okay? They do, okay? But I have to focus on moving my life forward and forgetting what happened. That's just the best thing for me. I also think that, when you're dealing with gang stalking or anything that causes trauma, financial loss, something that hurts your reputation or something along those lines, it's very hard not to let your emotions get involved. It's very hard not to. Especially if you do have an understanding of what exactly this program is. I would say it's nearly impossible to keep your emotions in check, okay? So considering everything that I know and everything that's happened, I think I did pretty well, okay? So, it's just time to say goodbye. I can't feel anything for any of the people who did this to me, and I think that's understandable, So other than that, I just want to say goodbye. So anyway, life is chugging along, and sadly, I'm moving at a small snail pace while the time is just flying by like a rabbit, right? And I'm doing the best I can. I want to get back to work, and I think the issues were, I had people kind of throwing their 2 cents in behind my back with other people. And I'm talking in general, I'm not pointing the finger about, Maria dresses a certain way or whatever. When I'm at work, depending on what environment I'm in, I'm always going to dress accordingly. Always. Like when you're in a professional office environment, there's a certain standard that most people adhere to. Like, women have a wide variety of things that they can wear, okay? Of course, it must not be provocative in any way. It has to be professional. Dress lengths have to be a certain length or whatever. And generally, I wear that anyway. Like, when you see me in town, of course, it's not exactly office attire, but it's more like, my skirts are a reasonable length, okay? It's modest, okay? It's a modest thing. And so I really think that people kind of blew this whole thing out of proportion, especially at my last position, where I felt as though I was being scrutinized, okay? I had very little interaction with the staff. It was like I would see them maybe once a week, and then for a while, I wasn't seeing hardly anyone at all, except for one person that would come in on Mondays, and that was it, And obviously, this kid was way younger than me, so there's no flirtations or anything like that going on. As for my boss, I rarely saw him either, except for getting closer to the end of where I was leaving the company. So everything that I do has really nothing to do with, this whole thing. I think when you're dealing with people who want to keep you in a relationship or whatever, they're overly possessive of you, to where they think, I got to make sure this person doesn't find somebody else because we want her to be with this particular person. And, the thing is that, while I was married, which I'm not anymore, there was never any sort of communication between he and I, which that would be the only thing that would really matter as to what I wore at work or anything like that. Like I said before in the past, I would go shopping with him all the time. He knew, that I was a clothes freak or whatever, but he never said, I don't want you doing this, I don't want you doing that. And if people are in relationships, okay, if you're in a relationship with somebody, this is the sort of thing that should be communicated between a couple, all right? And so, you don't say one thing and then do something else behind my back, and I think that should go for all couples. People need open communication, right? So I'm not, I don't want a relationship with Joel. I don't hate him. I think that he's a person who is somebody who is, what do you call it? Somebody who has been influenced by his environment that he was raised in or whatever. And maybe some of it was out of his control. But whatever the case is, I feel completely betrayed by somebody who would do what they did, like knowing the kind of mental anguish I was going through and allowed that to happen. So aside from that, I mean, moving on, I don't want to talk about that anymore, but it needs to be communicated and fully understood why I look at this situation as somebody who's like a tormentor or somebody who is abusive, emotionally, financially, and whatever you want to call it. So therefore, this person is, I wouldn't consider it. If I see him on the street, which I did see him, I think it was a month or two ago, I didn't even say anything to him. You know what I mean? It took me a while to even recognize who he was at the time. But I just would prefer to keep my distance. I don't ever want to see this person again, ever. Okay? That goes for his family and whatever. So, moving on. I'm doing the best I can. I wake up in the morning and, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, I want to get back to work. I want to, find something that is fulfilling. And right at this point, basically anything would be fulfilling, that I apply for because, I really want to get back to work. There are some positions that I would prefer other than others. But, when you are a targeted individual, it's very difficult, or when you dealt with gang stalking, it's very difficult to be precise, okay, because you don't know what's out there. All you can do is the best you can. So if another person who has never experienced this starts to chime in and say, well, I think you should be doing this, I think you should be doing that, you don't understand what it's like from my perspective. Okay, so it's like, when you are gang stalked or you dealt with human trafficking, they might say, well, we don't want her to do this particular position, but whatever. And you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. All you can do is the best that you can. And the main reason why I did these videos is because I wanted to get my side of the story out there. And it wasn't about trying to be competition. This is about my life. Like with me, it's about how I'm going to survive. And it's not about retaliating or being angry or keeping a fight going. It's about me understanding what this was and trying to minimize the impact of it because it is devastating. It's extremely devastating. So anyway, I got up this morning and I try to keep my morale up. I do. Okay. And I think sometimes, when women, I want to talk a little bit more about women and this whole issue about what I wear to work or whatever. I'm going to tell you, when I worked out there in Buttonwillow, I really didn't particularly care for that position. It's not that the work wasn't extremely stimulating, and I'm the kind of person who I like to stay busy. I really do. I enjoy busy days, okay? And whether that be data input or balancing things or even creating correspondences, whatever I'm doing, I like to have a lot of it, okay? So I like to stay busy, okay? And sometimes you get jobs where it's like downtime. I remember having a job one time, and the lady told me when she first hired me, there's not much to do. So in your downtime, you can just go ahead and play solitaire if you want to, or whatever. And this is what she told me to do, right? Because as long as I can answer the phones and greet people when they came in, it was completely fine with her. And it was okay because I was paying my bills, but at the same time, I was extremely bored. You know what I mean? I was extremely bored, and so. Because solitaire, and I play solitaire all the time, right? But solitaire, for like 6 hours or whatever, that is not enough. So I'm a person who enjoys working. I enjoy a nice heavy load, okay? And it's not about being a goody two-shoes. It's about making the time go by faster And then also somebody who has excessive mind energy, they're not going to be happy just sitting around. Like I'm right now, I feel like I'm going crazy because there's really not a lot to do. So I'll wipe the counter off. I'll, go through my closet and kind of clean out the bottom of it and shuffle things around, whatever, just to try to keep myself busy. But, I'm the kind of person, I like to be fulfilled at work. Okay, I just do. And so, anyway, going back to, my attire at work, I've always dressed appropriately. And some people will say, well, and I've mentioned this before, well, you dress, I don't know. I mean, some people dress better than me. A lot of people dress better than me, okay? There's a lot of people who have money and they can go out to nice department stores and buy coordinating outfits and whatever. I'm a thrift store person, and I kind of make things as I go along or whatever, or repair things or whatever. So, it's not about, for some women, and I know there's a lot of women out there, they go to salons, they get facials, facial peels, facial scrubs. Another part of their luxurious regimen is getting, massages, all kinds of things, that I've never did, even when I had money to do them. So I don't think that I'm excessive in anything, you know what I mean? But I think it's important for people, for their self-esteem, especially women, okay, to take pride in themselves to a certain degree, okay? That doesn't mean you have to be materialistic. It doesn't mean anything. It's about you and feeling better about you, okay? And it has nothing to do with men or anything. It's just about whatever, okay? Not every woman is like this, but I'm one of those people, okay? So like when I get up in the morning, I try to put on something that's going to make me feel good. You know what I mean? And I like to have color and I like to coordinate or whatever. Now there are some companies, like for example, the earrings that I'm wearing right now. Some companies don't like big earrings. So you don't wear big earrings. You know what I mean? You basically, some companies like no jewelry at all. And so you just wear, some people say, okay, you can wear a wedding band. So you just wear the wedding band. You see what I'm saying? So it's not about me trying to get attention. I've always liked accessorizing. And that's not something that people grow out of. It has nothing to do with being young. I mean, although I am a young at heart person, okay, because I love laughing, I love music, I love things that are lively and fun and bring life to people. I mean, I like those things, okay, but it has nothing to do with that. There's a lot of women who are older than me, like for example, I just saw it was an advertisement. It was about this woman who has her own website or whatever. This lady's like close to 70 years old. She's a white lady. And she had like a little bob cut, and she had this like really nice outfit. She was still rocking the fashion. She loves fashion. And if that's something that you enjoy, don't give that up. You know what I mean? That's something that you enjoy. It has nothing, and believe me, this woman is not sitting here strutting trying to get a man at all. This is about what makes you feel happy inside. And when you wake up in the morning, just like, I make up my bed every day. Nobody goes into my bedroom. No one, okay? Nobody sees my bedroom. Nobody needs to know what my personal life is in my bedroom, okay? But I make up my bed every morning and pick up any excess clutter for me. That's what it's about. It's about you as a person, okay? And some people will never stop enjoying the color coordinating and whatever. And I don't really have much, okay? But what I do have, I try to make the best of it, okay? So it has nothing to do with that. All right. So I think what happened to me was ridiculous, utterly ridiculous. I mean, if you go to work, I don't care if you're a garbage man. Okay. If you're going to work and you're trying to apply for a job to be a garbage man. Okay. You still go to that job interview with clean clothes, even though it's very likely that on the job you're going to get stains, crap, clutter, and even dog shit on your uniform. That's a big possibility. Okay. But when you go to that job interview and you're looking for work, you're going to be as tidy as you possibly can be, okay? You don't have to be glamorous, okay? And it's not required. I don't even suggest people be glamorous at work. I don't suggest that. But I do suggest you be professional, you be clean, and you wear decent clothes. And there should be a distinction between what you look like on the street and how you look when you're representing a company. That's just common knowledge, okay? And I think during this whole gang stalking frenzy, people lost sight of that. They really did. They lost sight of common sense. It's just common sense, all right? And if, like there's some of the other places that I worked at didn't have dress codes. It's been a very long time since I worked in a professional office setting. The last one I worked in at the manufacturing place, it was a Holmes place or whatever. It was an office, and the woman who was giving me grief from the moment I got there, she was dressed in appropriate office attire. I wore appropriate office attire. The only issue is that there was shit buzzing around about me, so that she looked at me in a way that wasn't fair. Okay? I mean, she painted me out to be like I was doing something wrong, and I didn't know what was going on until now. I understand. I'm not going to deal with Joel's family anymore. Okay, I had no idea what I was walking into when I got in that relationship. No idea whatsoever. Okay, and I think it was a big mistake on my ex-family, my blood relations' fault, to involve themselves and then do this whole flip around, as far as like, telling me one thing, accepting me in my life as in my face, and then going around my back and doing something completely different. That's wrong. Okay, when you have family, it's important that you keep these lines of communication open. Okay, I don't have any family responsibility, not the kind that they were sitting here like trying to set forth for me. That would be I'm referring to my ex-brother-in-law. We never had the discussion. Okay, as a matter of fact, I do remember my dad thinking that he was a little bit obsessed with his religious views, and he used it as a crutch. He didn't like it. Okay, he didn't like it at all. He didn't speak favorably of it at all. He never nodded to it or agreed with it. He didn't like it. Okay, because it's not that I don't believe in God. Obviously I do, but I don't believe that people can misuse religion. They can misuse it and they can abuse it, and this is what happened in this case. So enough said about that. So anyway, I'm trying to keep myself, on the up and up, trying to keep my what do you call it? My mood up. I'm trying to keep my morale up. And I do that every day. I do things to try to make myself feel better. Okay? And like, I'm not walking out the door today, but I combed my hair. You know what I mean? I put my earrings on, not because I'm going out the door. I'm not going out the door. I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going anywhere. To me, it's important. And I encourage women to take care of themselves to the best of their ability. If you can afford to go to one of those expensive places where they give you massages and facials and stuff like that. I've never had a facial. I have no plans of ever getting any. But if you can do that, and it makes you feel re-energized, remotivated, and makes you care about tomorrow, facing the world and dealing with issues, then do it. Do it. Empower yourself. Make yourself feel better about yourself. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? It has nothing to do with Tom, Dick, or Harry, or anyone else. It's about you. And that's it, plain and simple. So I'm tired of people assuming this and whatever. What I do in my life has nothing to do with anyone else other than me. And that's the damn truth. It's the damn truth. It's the 100% truth, okay? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I got other things I got to do, like look for work, continue my job search. It is very draining. I will tell you, it is extremely draining. And I hope that people in this community, eyes have been opened and be a little bit more concerned about what you say and what you do to other people. If you have Christian principles, then do the best you can to live by them. Stop the gossip, okay, number one. Show kindness and consideration to other people. If you truly follow the footsteps of Jesus Christ, okay, because that's really what it's about. It's not about overinflating your ego. It's not about even prosperity, okay, because just because you serve God doesn't mean you're going to be rolling in the dough. Quite the contrary. The Bible says something completely different. Sometimes you don't always have, crap loads of money, because what's here on this earth is not of heaven, okay? You can't bring it with you when you die, okay? And we all know that this system is ruled by other powers other than God, okay? So it's not about materialism, but we do have to survive, okay? Let's put things into perspective. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye-bye.